Tomorrow morning, as we continue our series, Godfathers of Rock and Roll, we'll talk with the self-proclaimed killer, Jerry Lee Lewis. 7:53. We're back in a moment, right after these messages. So far this week, we have heard Chuck Berry downplay his role in the birth of rock and roll, and heard Little Richard claim that he invented it. This morning, as we continue our series on the Godfathers of Rock and Roll, we hear from a man who bluntly boasts that he is rock and roll. His name is Jerry Lee Lewis, and he's never lacked confidence. He called himself the Killer, and though he made only 3 top 10 hits, he first gave rock the aggressive edge and outlaw image that it still carries today. Who taught you to play the piano?
Myself.
You taught yourself?
Right. Day in and day out.
Did it come easy?
No, sir. I learned to play pretty fast, pretty quick, but I didn't get any directions from anybody else to play piano because I never heard anybody else play piano.
You didn't hear anybody else?
No. No. I know that may sound phony, but it's true. I got my own style for myself. Worked on it year in and year out, 6, 7 hours a day.
Why? What did it do for you, Jerry?
Well, I don't know how to answer that, Brian, except that I love music. I love rock, blues, just good ear-listening music.
What possessed you to then proceed on up to Sam Phillips and try to play for him?
I seen a picture in a book where a man called Sam C. Phillips released some records on a guy called Elvis Presley out of Memphis on Sun Records. And me and my daddy was out in the field. We were pulling corn. You know. And I said, Daddy, I think I'm going to Memphis. I was 20 years old then. I said, well, I read about this boy called Elvis Presley who is really something else. And Sam Phillips got him started. I think he could get me started. We sold 39 dozen of eggs to get the money to drive up here. You know?
Oh, gotta get with it, baby. I rock away all out there.
I knew I could be a hit.
What did you think rock and roll was?
Well, at that time, it really wasn't any rock and roll. It was rockabilly.
How was rockabilly different than boogie woogie?
Rockabilly is the next thing to hillbilly. A lot of difference. A rockabilly is a big stand-up bass with Bill Black playing on it, you know, and Scotty Moore on a guitar, trying to pick Chet Atkins style, which can't. And Elvis Presley sang, "Hip, baby, 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 baby." Rockabilly.
That was rockabilly.
Yeah.
So what was rock and roll?
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Were you the inventor?
Yes, sir.
Plain and simple.
You can check your encyclopedia of books. And they never could come up with the word, what was rock and roll? Well, when they saw my show at the Paramount Theater with Alan Freed, and they put a picture of me in the encyclopedia. And they said, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the conclusion what rock and roll is. And they had a picture of me leaping off of a piano with my hair about high, flying through the air, doing a whole lot of shaking going on. They said, this is rock and roll.
Come on over, baby. A whole lot of shaking going on. Come on over, baby. Baby, you can't go wrong.
People write that you went after it, that you were a white man with a black man's soul.
You're right. That's what they say. I thought it was a great compliment because I love the black man's music.
Was everything you did at the piano natural, or was any of it contemplated for effect?
Not at first, no. But I got to thinking, I said, there's got to be something else you got to do, Jerry Lee, you know, to stir up these people. I said, I think I'll just kick the piano stool back one time and act like I'm knocking it over, but not really, you know, and see what they think of that. And they went crazy over it. So I began to pay for a lot of piano stools.
It came to a full stop, Jerry, in '58. Did it embitter you?
No, not really. No, not at all.
Would you change anything?
No. If I changed anything, I wouldn't have that beautiful daughter sitting out there. My biggest downfall, I would say, would be sticking with Sam Phillips on Sun Records when all this publicity broke on me. He never backed me up. He kept me there for 6 years on his label. And I'm talking about Sun Records, a label that Elvis Presley had 8 releases on and never even had a hit record until he got on RCA Victor. Sam Phillips, you know, he would not give me a chance. He wouldn't turn me loose. And I had to stick it out until I got on Mercury Records. And I had to come in the back door using country-type music.
That bother you?
Well, not a bit. I thought it was great.
What do you think of what passes today for modern rock?
Well, looking back, going to the Beatles, for instance, and on through, it seems like they were great in what they were doing. I never did like it, but the simplicity, they took the simplicity completely away from rock and roll.
What about the modern stuff today?
Nah.
Don't like it?
I don't hear anything out there that's a threat.
Simple question. Were you better than Elvis?
Musically speaking, or talent speaking, talent? Yeah. I think so. Yeah. He admitted it to Sam Phillips. Yeah.
Let me in on that if you would.
Well, he went up to the Sun Record one day a few years back before he died. He said, you know, Mr. Phillips, the Jerry Lee, really, when it comes to talent, he's got more talent in his little finger than I have in my whole body.
So why do you figure Elvis became Elvis?
Because he had a great manager, Tom Parker, who treated him as if he was a monkey in a cage.
If you'd have had the Colonel, could you have been king?
I don't think the Colonel could have lived through it.